Back in 2017, Italy made an announcement that went viral worldwide. You could buy a house in Italy for just €1. And overnight, the €1 house craze erupted. The dream of moving to Italy suddenly felt possible for millions of people. Headlines exploded, videos went viral, people started planning entire new lives. But as more people actually tried to do it, the truth behind these houses started to come out. And it was very different from the fantasy most people imagined. So in this video, I'm going to explain everything you need to know about Italy's €1 house scheme, how it works, who is it for, where to find them, what they really cost, and what most people discover after it's too late. Because the €1 price tag is real, but the reality behind it is a completely different story. So why would anybody sell a house for €1 in the first place? Because these houses aren't cheap by accident. They are cheap on purpose. Across Italy, especially in the south and in mountain regions, hundreds of mountain towns have been slowly emptying out for decades. Young people leave for work, families move to cities, birth rates drop, and entire historic centers start to hollow out. You end up with abandoned homes, closed shutters, buildings left untouched for 30, 40, sometimes 50 years. So as you probably know, empty homes aren't harmless. They deteriorate, roofs collapse, walls weaken, infrastructure decays, and when enough buildings fall apart, the town itself starts dying. So municipalities had to find a solution. Instead of trying to sell abandoned homes for market value, they began offering them symbolically for €1, not to make money, but to attract new residents. People who would renovate, move in, open businesses, pay taxes, and bring life back to these towns. So you see, when you buy into a €1 house, you're not buying a bargain property. You're stepping into a town's regeneration project. And that changes everything, because the price of the house is the least important number in the whole process. So what are you really signing up for when you buy a €1 house? First of all, you're not buying a property. You are signing a legal agreement with the municipality. And that agreement includes deadlines, financial guarantees, and mandatory renovation requirements. And this isn't optional. Every €1 house program requires you to submit a renovation plan which must meet structural and safety standards. You can't just repaint walls and call it done. And the renovation work must begin within a certain time frame, usually between 1 and 3 years. And many of these properties require new roofs, structural reinforcement, plumbing and electrical systems, seismic compliance upgrades, sometimes full internal reconstruction. These homes have often been abandoned for decades, and you're restoring, not refreshing. Most municipalities also require a financial guarantee, usually between €2,000 and €10,000. And this is not the purchase price, it's a performance deposit. And you get it back only if you finish the renovations within the agreed time frame. If you don't, you lose it. Before work begins, your renovation plans must be approved. Architectural drawings, structural calculations, municipal permits, and in historic centers, restrictions are common. Facade preservation, window styles, roofing materials, structural limits. You are, after all, renovating heritage property and not a modern apartment. You also don't have unlimited time because most programs require completion in between 3 to 5 years, which actually sounds generous until you factor in the bureaucracy, permit approvals, contractor availability, materials delays, and time moves faster than most buyers expect. Now, this is a question I get a lot, especially from people in the trades. And since renovations are my main work as well, let me clarify this realistically. Yes, You can do part of the renovations yourself. Cosmetic and non-structural work is usually fine. Demolition and clearing, tiling and roofing, painting and plastering, kitchens and interiors. And these can save you a significant amount of money, but you can't fully DIY the project. Anything that affects safety or structure must be handled or at least signed off by certified Italian professionals. Structural reinforcement, roof replacement, foundations, load-bearing walls, seismic upgrades. You will need engineers, architects, approved calculations, and municipal permits. Even if you physically do some work, it still needs official design and approval. Electrical, gas, and plumbing system often require compliance certificates, which without you can't legally occupy your house, or you may not get insurance, and you may fail municipal inspections. So skills help, but they don't remove bureaucracy or compliance costs. So if you're in the trades, you can make the project cheaper, but not simple. So again, you're not buying a cheap house. You're accepting a legally binding restoration obligation with financial and time consequences. Let me pause here for a second. If you're finding this helpful or you're actually considering following this path, let me know in the comments. I read everything and lots of these videos are actually inspired by your questions. And if you want more real practical breakdowns like this about moving to Italy, or you would like a real list of towns that have a €1 house scheme in a certain region, let me know in the comments and make sure you're subscribed. Alright, now let's talk about the part everyone wants to know. How much these €1 houses actually end up costing. First, let's get the obvious out of the way. The €1 house doesn't cost €1. That's just the entry ticket. The real cost is the renovation, and depending on the house, that can vary massively. To make this simple, think about the €1 house in 3 different categories. Light renovation, between 20 to 50,000 euros. This is rare, but it happens. These are properties that are structurally sound, have intact roofs, need system updates, and require cosmetic work. Think new bathrooms, electrical upgrades, plastering, floors, windows. I mean, livable, but outdated. Most buyers hope for this tier. Few really find it. The second category would be moderate renovations, and that would be between 50 and 100,000 euros. This is the realistic middle ground. Properties in this range often need partial roof work, plumbing replacement, electrical wiring, new heating systems, structural reinforcements, and this is where most €1 houses fall. I mean, still manageable, but no longer cheap. Then there's a third category, which is the full restoration, and that would be between 100 and 200,000 euros. This is very common, especially in historic town centers. These homes may require new roofs, floor slab reconstruction, wall stabilization, full internal rebuild, new staircases, foundation work. At this level, you're essentially rebuilding the home inside the original shell. I mean, in this case, the €1 price becomes symbolic, and you're funding a full-on property restoration. Then there are some additional hidden costs. These are professional and administrative costs that many buyers forget to calculate. Architect and engineering fees, structural assessment, permits and municipality taxes, project management, compliance certifications, and these alone can add between 10 and 25,000 euros depending on the project size and location. Now, if you are in construction or renovations, like I am, you can reduce labor costs significantly during your own demolition, tiling, finishing, and interior work, which can cut tens of thousands of euros off the budget. But remember, structural work, system certification, and compliance still require licensed professionals. So your skill will lower the cost, but it doesn't eliminate the financial reality. And then there are costs nobody talks about. Connecting utilities, sewer system upgrades, internet infrastructure, road access repairs. Some properties have been abandoned for so long that basic infrastructure needs rebuilding. So when people ask me how much does a €1 house really cost, a realistic planning range looks like this. Budget minimum €50,000, comfortable renovation between 80 and 120,000 euros, a full restoration 150 plus euros. And that's assuming no major structural disasters appear mid-project. And this leads to the next reality check. Because even if you're ready for the costs, you still need to find one of those houses. And they're not located where most people expect. So let's say you're comfortable with the costs. The next question becomes, where do I find a €1 house? You rarely find the €1 homes in Italy's most famous regions. Not in Lombardy, not in Veneto, definitely not in Tuscany. And why? Because the demand exists there already. Property values are stable. People are still moving in. There's no need for the €1 home incentives. The €1 home incentive exists mostly in depopulated areas. This is southern Italy, inland mountain regions, and remote hilltop villages. These are places where the population has been shrinking for decades. Beautiful, but economically fragile. So some of the most active regions include Sicily, Calabria, Puglia, Abruzzo, Molise, Sardinia. These programs are designed to populate towns, not cities. And this is another important reality. Most of the €1 homes are in small towns, sometimes very small. Think between 1 to 5,000 residents, with limited public transport, fewer hospitals, slower services. You're trading price for infrastructure and convenience. Now let's talk about the part most people struggle with. And that's how you actually find them. Because there's no single national database, no central government list, and each municipality pretty much runs its program independently. So you have to search town by town. So number one is municipal websites. This is always the best source when a town launches the €1 house incentive program. It's published in the official commune website, usually under sections like Casa a €1, Bando Case a €1, Rigenerazione Urbana. There you will find property lists, application forms, renovation requirements, deadlines, and the municipal contacts. And this is the primary source, and everything else pulls from here. The second way is to look at aggregator websites. These are websites that collect the €1 house programs in one place, and they're useful for browsing the participating towns, but they're not always updated. So they're good for discovery, but not final verification. You always need to confirm directly with the municipality. Number 3 is local real estate agents. Some agents collaborate with the municipalities, especially in towns which are actively targeting foreign buyers. But this is hyper-local. You won't find these deals through major national agencies. You will need agents operating inside the specific town. Another big misconception is you don't just buy a €1 house like a normal property. You apply first, and municipalities often evaluate your renovation plan, financial capacity, timeline commitment, and intended property use. They're looking for buyers who will complete the projects and not abandon them halfway. Now, because of the global media attention to this matter, misleading listings appear online all the time. So if you see fully renovated €1 homes or ready to move in €1 properties or no renovation required, be skeptical. That's not how the official program works. So practically, this is how the search looks. You choose a region you like, you research the participating towns, visit the municipality websites, review active programs, contact the municipality directly, and submit an application. It's much closer to applying for a project than buying a home. And this leads to the most important question of all. Who does this scheme actually make sense for? Because the €1 homes are life-changing opportunities for some and very expensive mistakes for others. So after everything we've covered, who does this actually make sense for? Because €1 homes can be incredible opportunities, but only for the right type of person. If you're in construction or trades or project management, this path makes more sense. If your income comes from outside the local economy, maybe remote work, online business, pension income, because most of these €1 towns don't really offer a good job opportunity market. So mobile income is a big advantage. It's also good for these people that are not looking only for a house, they're actually looking for a project. They want to shape it, design it, and rebuild it exactly the way they imagined it. For them, the renovation journey is part of the dream. And this is also where the perspective really matters. Because in many of these towns, you can often buy a livable, sometimes fully renovated home for under €100,000. Sometimes much less. So naturally the question becomes, why go through the €1 scheme at all? So the €1 house makes sense if you want full creative control, you want to design everything yourself, you're comfortable managing a long renovation, you're thinking long term and not fast relocation. It's less about saving money and more about building something personal. If you're looking for a moving house and fast relocation and low renovation stress, buying a renovated property nearby is often a much smarter move. Less romantic, but much more practical. So €1 homes are real, they're not scams, and they're not fantasies either. And if you're looking at Italy from a financial perspective, there's another program you should know about. Italy offers a 7% tax scheme in certain towns for qualifying retirees. In the next town, I'll break down how it works, where it applies, and who it makes sense for. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it, and I'll see you on the next one.